Good, thanks. How are you, Andy? If this sanctuary were a boat, we'd be tilting perilously to one side. I don't know if that's coincidence or something else, but yeah. It's great to see everyone. I'm gonna invite us all to maybe say our last hello and Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova for the moment, whoever we're excited to see, and yeah, take a deep breath and settle into Rosh Hashanah 5784. Thank you everyone for being here. It's great to see everyone. Thank you for the folks who are joining us online. It's great to see you as well. It's great to have Alex Eidman back in the building to continue our high holiday Alex Squared traditions. And yeah, it feels like a really wonderful way to be starting off the holidays. So in just a moment, we'll light candles. Before we light candles, I want to start us off with a poem by John O'Donohue, who was an Irish priest and poet. You've all heard me read his work before, I hope. And he actually does have a poem titled For a New Year, but his poem For a New Beginning is one of my favorites, and I will not pass up a timely opportunity to read it. So if anyone wants to read For a New Year, I'm happy to give you the book at the end of services, but we're going to go with For a New Beginning tonight, as we all step into our own new beginning this evening. In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered how you could always live like this. Then the delight, when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground. Your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure, hold nothing back, learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. And we'll continue with candle lighting. I'm going to invite everyone to rise. I'll light and say the bracha, but if you know it, please say it along with me. And of course, we are doubling up, so it is Lahadlik Ner Shel Shabbat Ve'yom Tov. So don't get thrown off by that. And together, let's bring that light into the room and into our lives, into our old year and into our new year. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat Ve'yom Tov. Amen. You may be seated, and you can open your Machzorim to page 4, and I will invite Alex up to the bima as we begin with a very abbreviated Kabbalat Shabbat and Psalm 92, the Psalm for Shabbat.
Mizmor shir lehayom Hashabbat. Mizmor shir lehayom Hashabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai uzamer leshimcha elyon lehagid baboker chastecha bemunatcha baleilot.
And we'll continue silently through the rest of Psalm 92.
Tzadikata hamar yifra Erev balvanon yizkeshetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verananim yiyu lehagid ki ashar Adonai suri velo avlatabo.
And just like that, we are going to transition out of Kabbalat Shabbat and into Mariv and into the familiar high holiday tunes and liturgy. And we will continue on page 5 with the Barchu. I will invite you to rise as you're able on the top of page 5.
Baruchu et Adonai ha-mevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai ha-mevorach leolam vaed.
You may be seated. We'll continue with the first blessing on page 5 silently. Baruch Adonai.
Umavir yom, umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai Tzivaot Shemo, El Chai v'kayam tamid, im lo aleinu leolam vaed. Baruch atah Hamariv Aravim.
Amen. And on the top of page 6, I invite you to read along with me in the English, beginning with "You have loved." You have loved your people, the house of Israel, with infinite love. You taught us Torah and mitzvot, statutes and laws. Therefore, Adonai our God, as we lie down or rise up, we shall think of your laws and speak of them, rejoicing in your words of Torah and your mitzvot forever and ever. For they are our life and the fullness of our days, and on them we will meditate day and night. May you never withdraw your love from us. Baruch atah Adonai, who loves the people Israel.
Ve'avadcha al tasir mimenu leolamim. Baruch atah Adonai. Ohevamo Yisrael.
And we'll join together for the Shema in the middle of page 6.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'lechtecha v'derech u'v'shochecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. We'll continue silently at the top of page 7 and come back together for the second paragraph on page 7. Vayomer Adonai El Moshe Lemor Daber El Bnei Yisrael Ve'amarta Alehem V'asu lahem tzitzit Al kanfei bigdeihem ledorotam v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf v'til techelet v'haya lachem letzitzit uritem oto Uschartem et kol mitzvot Adonai vasitem otam velo taturu acharei levavchem acharei einechem asher atem zonim achareihem leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai Bitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem
Adonai Elohechem emet.
And we're going to turn to the middle of page 8. We're going to continue with Micha Mocha, with a responsive tune that some of you may have heard once before, last month at our Lei-led Chavurah service, where Reina led us in this tune responsively as well. So if you can follow along and repeat back to Alex, please do. If not, listen and enjoy.
Micha Mocha
Micha Mocha
Ba'elim Adonai
Ba'elim Adonai
Mika Mocha
Mika Mocha
Nedar Ba'kodesh
Nedar Ba'kodesh
Nora
Nora
Tehilot
Tehilot
Osei
Osei
Feleh
Feleh
Malchutcha
Malchutcha
Ra'uvanecha
Ra'uvanecha
Bokeyayam
Bokeyayam
Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam
Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam
Zeheli
Zeli
Anu v'yameru
Anu v'yameru
Adonai yimloch
Adonai yimloch
le'olam va'ed
Le'olam va'ed
V'nehemar
V'ne'emar
Kifad Adonai
Kifad Adonai
et Yaakov
Et Yaakov
Ge'alo miyad chazak mimenu
Ugealo miyad chazak mimenu
Baruch
Baruch let's continue on page 9. At the top of the page, we are going to read responsively in English. I'll go first and then you can respond. This is one of my favorite prayers and one that I find over the last couple of years has presented itself in my life more and more. So please read with me responsively. Allow us, Adonai our God, to sleep peacefully and to awaken again to life, our sovereign.
Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name.
Shield us, remove us from enemies and pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow, and remove the evil forces that surround us.
Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over and deliver us, and you are the sovereign, merciful, and compassionate.
Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now and forever.
May you spread over us your canopy of peace.
And the blessing in English altogether, Baruch Atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us and over all the people Israel and over Jerusalem.
Ufros aleinu sukat shelomecha Baruch Atah Adonai Hapore sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
And we rise at the bottom of page 9 for Vishamru.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat v'inafash, Shabbat v'inafash, Shabbat v'inafash. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
And on the top of page 10, the sanctification of the day for Rosh Hashanah.
Tiku v'chodesh shofar b'keseh leyom chageinu ki chok l'Yisrael hu mishpat lelohei. Yaakov
continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 10.
Yitkadal veyitkadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma Divrach Kirutei Be'amelich Malchutei Bechayechon Uve'omechon Uvechayei Techol Beit Yisrael Bagala Uvizman Karib Veimeru Amen Yehesh Mei Rabba Mevorach Be'olam Ule'almei Almayah Yitbarach Ve'ishtabach Ve'itpoar Ve'itromam Ve'itnasei Ve'ithadar Ve'itale Ve'ithalal Shemei de Kudesha Berichu Li'ehela Li'ehela Mikol Birchata Veshirata Tushbechata Venechemata Damiran Be'alma Veimeru Amen.
And we'll continue with the silent Amidah, beginning on page 11 through page 17. If you are following along with the formal words of the text, please remember to insert the additions for Shabbat in red brackets throughout the text. We'll continue silently and come back together in a few moments with Oseh Shalom.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imheru, amen.
Shabbat Shalom. And Shana Tova. So the confluence of Shabbat and Rosh Hashanah makes each of these two separate powerful days feel a bit unfamiliar. Even the familiar greetings feel off. Which do we include? Which do we say first? While I would expect these two holy occasions to build on each other, the lived experience is that they seem to detract from one another when combined. Take, for example, this evening service for Shabbat and Rosh Hashanah. We actually cut out almost the entirety of the Kabbalat Shabbat liturgy. And for once, this wasn't an effort by Alex and I to save time and shorten the service. This is actually what tradition dictates. There's very little readily available information that I could find as to why our custom is to eliminate Kabbalat Shabbat when Shabbat and holidays coincide. According to asktherabbi.org, that's right, there is an asktherabbi.org. Please don't use it to fully replace me. The reason that we recite Kabbalat Shabbat on a regular Shabbat Friday evening is to elevate us to the right spiritual level so that we can accept Shabbat in the correct frame of mind. When Shabbat and a holiday coincide with each other, there is no Kabbalat Shabbat on Friday evening because the holiday brings with it such an enhanced holiness that we do not require the additional preparation of Kabbalat Shabbat to draw us upwards spiritually. Basically, what they're saying is that the very nature of the combined holiday and Shabbat do our spiritual work for us, rendering the preparation of Kabbalat Shabbat unnecessary. And while in some ways that's a nice thought, I also can't help but to feel robbed. After all, Eids is here. I want a song-filled Kabbalat Shabbat this Friday more than ever. I expect that this feeling will be magnified tomorrow after the Torah service, in the heavy silence created by the absence of the shofar, which we won't blow out of respect for Shabbat. So as we head into this doubly holy day, I want to attempt to create some synergy between Shabbat and Rosh Hashanah. I've been thinking a lot leading up to Rosh Hashanah about a passage from the beginning of the Shabbat Amidah, even though we won't recite it tomorrow. Yismach Moshe b'matnat chelko, ki eved ne'eman karata lo, klil tiferet b'rosho natata lo, be'amdo lefanecha b'har Sinai, u'shnei luchot avanim horid biado. Moses rejoiced in the role he was given, for you called him a trusted servant. You placed a beautiful crown on his head when he stood before you at Sinai. he carried down in his hands 2 stone tablets on which were recorded the observances of Shabbat. I love that imagery. I picture Moses skipping down the mountain, irrepressibly joyful, the heavy stone tablets light as air in his hands, as his excitement builds to share the gift of Shabbat with the rest of the people. Except we know the story doesn't end there. Moses sees the people worshiping the golden calf in his absence, and the tablets fall to the ground and shatter. What exactly took place in that moment when the tablets broke is a matter of dispute amongst the rabbis. One opinion holds that Moses cast them down in a rage, shattering them on purpose. Another opinion teaches that at the sight of the Israelites worshiping the golden calf, Moses' strength failed him. He was completely deflated. His mental anguish manifested in his body, and the tablets tumbled to the ground, as he was simply unable to bear their weight for even a moment longer. The second interpretation is the one that resonates more with me. Listen, who am I to criticize Moses? But I don't think he was fully prepared for life after Sinai. Moses was so on top of the world during his 40 days with God atop Mount Sinai that he might have been experiencing a sense of perfect joy and fulfillment. And I wonder if he assumed that he would be able to maintain that spiritual high forever. Yet when reality intruded, when the inevitable downfall presented itself, he was completely unprepared to handle it. Moses had no spiritual rainy day fund, no well of coping mechanisms to draw on, no support of family or friends, nor personal resilience ready to call on to carry him through a tough moment. I think this is one of the great challenges of tshuva, our work of return and repentance that is the focus of the Jewish high holidays. As we encounter our own victories and disappointments, juggle our hopes and regrets, we can all too easily find ourselves bouncing between extremes. We must remember that bad times will, God willing, get better, and good times, for better or worse, will eventually pass. Gam ze ya'avor. This too shall pass. A very Jewish response to the low points of life and the highs. I want to share one last thought on finding some healthy middle ground. It comes from Rabbi Shefa Gold, and those of you who attended Adult Ed on Monday evening have already heard it, but it bears repeating and spreading to a wider audience. This is excerpted from a great book, Making Prayer Real, Leading Jewish Spiritual Voices on Why Prayer is Difficult and What to Do About it. She is writing about the Haftarah for Shabbat Nachamu, the first Haftarah of consolation we read 7 long weeks ago. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, Yomar, Elohechem, Dabru Alev Yerushalayim, Vekir'u Eleha, Ki Mal'at Siv'ah, Ki Nirtza Avona. Comfort, O comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem and declare to her that her term of service is fulfilled, that her iniquity is expiated. Here's what Rabbi Gold has to say. I was preparing for Shabbat, and I came across these words from Isaiah, your service is fulfilled. I thought these are great words to chant before Shabbat, as a way of letting go of the week. But as I was chanting, I felt the words so strongly. God was saying, you've done enough and you are enough. You've completely fulfilled your mission in this moment. It exposed a disease I didn't know that I had. I was holding on to a low-level anxiety, a voice saying, you're never enough and you're never done. You always have to stay vigilant because something is going to fall through the cracks. I experienced what it was like to know that I was completely finished in this very moment, and then take up the next moment from the place of joy rather than anxiety. I experienced it as switching fuel tanks. That before, what fueled my work in the world was a little bit about anxiety and not getting things done. And now I felt what it was like to live from the pure joy of the work itself. Chanting that phrase gave me an experience, a new compass point to guide my life, because I had a moment where I felt what it was like to be enough. Over the coming days and over the coming year, may we know and appreciate what it is to be enough, and let those glorious moments carry us through good times and bad. Shana Tova and Shabbat Shalom. We'll continue on page 19 with the full Kaddish. I'm going to invite us to rise as we're going to go straight into Aleinu from there. Page 19.
Yitkadal ve'yikada shemehera haba be'ol madiv rakirute ve'hamlich malchute ve'chayechon uv'yomeichon uve'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Bahagala uvizman kari ve'immeru amen.
Amen.
Yehi shmeira b'mevorach ve'olam u'olmei olmaya Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa v'yitromam ve'yitnaseh ve'yitadar ve'yitaleh ve'yitalal shemei dekudesha Liela, liela, mikol berchata v'shihirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Titkabel tzeloton uva'uton decho Yisrael, kadam avuhon di bishmahaya, ve'immeru amen.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shmahaya vehechayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'immeru amen.
Amen.
Ose shalom b'himromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'immeru amen.
Amen. And we'll turn to page 25 and continue with the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol lateit gidula leyotzeh breshit shelo asanu kigoye aratzot velo samanu gemishpechot ha'adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem Ve'gohor aleinu kechol hamonam V'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim Lifnei melech malchei hamelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shamayim ve'yoser haaretz Moshav yikaro b'shamayim ima'al Ushchinatu zo Egav he'meromim Hu Eloheinu einod Emet malkeinu efes zulato Kakatuv b'torato be'adayom atayom behashevota elevavecha ki Adonai hu Elohim b'shamayim imal ve'al haaretz Tachateno. Einod.
And we'll continue at the bottom of the page, the last 3 lines.
Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed.
V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai
Lemelech al kol haaretz.
Bayom hahu
Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo echad.
You may be seated. We'll continue on page 27 with the excerpt from Psalm 27, Achat Sha'alti. In the Hebrew, it is bolded about 7 or 8 lines down, and in the English, it is in transliteration in red on the left side of the page 27.
Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai otavakesh. Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai otavakesh. Shifti beveit Adonai kol yemei chayai lachazot b'noam Adonai ulevaker b'heichalo lachazot b'noam Adonai ulevaker b'heichalo.
And we'll continue with the Mourner's Kaddish on page 26. Anyone who would like to rise and join me in saying the Mourner's Kaddish is invited to rise and do so now. Page 26. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah be'alma divrach yerutei ve'amlich malchutei b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach leolam ulmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha brichu. Le'ela le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru Amen. You may be seated.
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova. And Yasher Koach to Alex. Feel like we're off to a very good start. So hoping to see you again tomorrow morning starting at 9. Hard to know exactly what kind of weather tomorrow will bring. We are going to do our best to be here in person and online, but obviously do whatever feels safe. And you know, obviously keeping yourself safe and secure. Hopefully we will make out okay, but keep that in mind. So tomorrow morning at 9, Sunday morning at 9, and there will be plenty of people to continue thanking as the weekend goes on. But of course, thank you to everyone who worked hard behind the scenes to get this place, and in front of the scenes, to get this place ready and for another edition of the High Holidays. And with that, I am going to turn one more time back to Alex on page 28, and we will conclude with Yigdal. Page 28.
Yigdal Elohim Chai Ve'yishtabach
נמצא בעיני תל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו. נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו. אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו. קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו. הינו אדון עולם בכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו מלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו. אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו, לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד, נביא ומביט את אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמו אל, על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו. יחל יפאר ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמים לזולתו, צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו, גומר לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרשעתו, ישלח לגץ ימין משיחנו, לפתות מחכה קץ ישועתו, מתים יחייל ברוך חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו, מתים יחייל ברוך חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו. Yasher Koach, Alex, Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova. Thank you all for being here, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Please return your machzorim to the back of the room. Yasher Koach.
Shabbat Shalom.